Hi, welcome back to Gearjunkies TV and a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at the Meyer MD900 synthesizer. The MD900 is a virtual analog synthesizer with 16 voices and 4-part multi-timbral, where the voices can be distributed among the parts. The MD900 is a subtractive synthesizer. There are 2 oscillators per voice, a noise oscillator that can also play samples, which then pass through a mixer section into a double filter and can be modulated with 2 envelopes and 3 LFOs. But there's also an Arpeggiator, sequencer, drum machine, an effects section and a clip launcher built in that come together in the final mixer, which we all will check out in this video. But first, you can stay informed about all our videos by subscribing to our channel. Just click the subscribe button below the video and you can hit the bell button to get notifications when there's something new on our channel. The MD900 is a desktop model with a nice sturdy aluminum case and features a classy walnut front and back panel. On the top it's quite busy with on the left a 5-color touchscreen display with 4 encoders, a central encoder knob, then 3 envelopes consisting of sliders with LED lighting. Below that the various synth sections, 2 oscillator sections, noise, wave shipper and mixer section, a dual filter section and an LFO panel. All these sections have potentiometers for the main functions, but there are also 4 mini OLED screens where you can see additional information if the main screen is used for something else. And the envelopes have their own little OLED screen on top as well. Although it's a lot of information that you get to see this way, it works well. Everything is clearly arranged with color coding for buttons with second functions, which you apply by pressing the knob longer. And each panel has a small button with which you can quickly make it show on the touchscreen so you can see exactly what the parameters do, like this. On the back we find a stereo output, headphone output and audio input. Also on there are MIDI out in and through and 3 USB host inputs and an input for an expression pedal and a sustain pedal. The power supply is external. What is typical about the MD900 is the startup time. The device really has to boot like a computer and it's ready to use after 40 seconds or so. This feels a bit like starting a plugin in a box, but once booted, everything works quickly and immediately. And the touchscreen is also responsive and the buttons have no latency. The presets are divided into folders and are on some kind of internal disk. There are no tags or categories that you can assign to the sounds. You can play the MD900 using various sources via this selector screen. And here you find a source selector for each of the 4 parts with a choice of MIDI or one of the 3 USB hosts. What you cannot do is use multiple sources to play one part, so you have to take that into account when you set up your playing system. There's also no normal USB on the MD900. The technical explanation for this is that the processor board that's being used here does not support it. Through the host connection you can connect a USB Ethernet adapter and control the Meyer via MIDI over Ethernet. And this is also necessary to work with a software editor which is currently under development. At the heart of the MD900 are the 2 oscillators per voice, which have 2 modes, algorithmic and wavetable. But actually there are many more oscillators. Everything is duplicated because the entire signal path is stereo, and there are even 4 oscillators running simultaneously within one oscillator. So you can tune and spread these relative to each other, instantly creating a very wide soundstage. And altogether there are 64 oscillators at work simultaneously when all 16 voices are in use. And all of this is completely stereo, which immediately explains why there is a hefty computer in the MD900. The algorithmic oscillator generates classical waveforms, which can be varied in 3 ways. They include sine, sawtooth, triangle and pulse waveforms, which you can use as a base. The VA sweep parameters let you adjust the waveforms to create more complex, thicker sounding waves, which you can then detune and spread. All this is displayed in the touchscreen, where the 4 encoders below the screen allow direct control of various parameters. Let's listen to some of the waveforms. The wavetable section consists of a number of wavetables present in the system of the MD900, but you can also add them yourself as a WAV file via an USB stick. Each table consists of 256 variations. If you add a waveform with fewer variations, they are automatically replenished. And a special feature is the spectral morphing parameter, where you can walk through the wavetable frequency dependently, and this can be combined with a detuning and spread function. Let's listen to some of the wavetables. The noise generator implementation is quite unique. It actually plays a sample. That doesn't have to be a form of noise, it can be your own sample or one of the many built-in ones. You can play it with a fixed pitch or link to the note plate, and it has a loop function. So with this, it has actually become an extra sampled voice that you can add to the sound. Let's listen to some of the examples. In the mixer section, you determine which part of the sound goes to filter A or B. The filters themselves are parallel, so each has its own setting of type, frequency and resonance. The oscillators can be cross-faded and then sent to filter A or B, and the noise oscillator can be mixed between filter A and B. So the filter section is actually completely stereo, where the frequency knob can be linked so that the roll-off frequency of filter A and B are coupled. This makes it possible to control both filters with one envelope or LFO. The filters themselves are multi-mode with a choice of 12 and 24 dB, low pass, band pass, high pass and notch filters. Self-oscillation can be done with some of these variants where the filter displayed graphically in the large touchscreen. Let's listen to some of the filters. The audio is processed in stereo with two envelopes in each signal path. So there's A, B, and this further edits the dynamics of the sound. In total there are 4 envelopes in the MD900 in addition to amplitude A and B. The filter also has its own envelope and there's another separate modulation envelope. They are all of the ADSR type and they are found on the panel as 3 sets of 4 sliders with LED indicators. The amp envelope has an A-B selector switch and in addition there's another small color screen above the sliders where you can read the current position of the envelopes, since it can of course be different from the current position of the faders. So by selecting the envelope here I can see it in the small display, and if I operate it I can see the faders move and also on the main screen. Now if this is selected on the main screen and I move these, you can see in the small screen that I can immediately see what I'm doing there without losing the overview on the big screen of the other envelope that I've chosen. The MD900 features 3 LFOs that can be used anywhere. This panel also features its own display, so you can always see which waveform is active. So you can choose from sine, triangle, sawtooth, reverse sawtooth or random. There's a delay function, and in addition to a free loop you can sync it to the MIDI clock with adjustable timing, and you can trigger it from a keyboard. The modulation matrix, as you can see here, has all the sources and destinations. And it's quite impressive because it has 24 slots with a total of 24 sources and 38 targets. And with a clever key combination you can quickly add any button on the panel as a source or target. In the touchscreen you can scroll and further adjust the matrix, such as the amount of modulation per slot and reverse polarity. You can set up the MD900's digital effect section per part. So in total there are 4 stereo effect processors. You can stack up to 10 effects among each other via the touchscreen, and you have a choice of modulation delay, stereo delay, chorus flanger, EQ, compressor, reverb, Moog filter and tube saturator. This works as follows. You choose a slot here and then with type on this knob you can choose one of the available effects, and they are all displayed graphically in the screen. Select one by pressing the button and you can move to the next slot and do the same there. Choose a different one or the same one, whatever you want, and as soon as you've chosen them you can adjust any of the parameters that are available to the specified effect. The MD900 features a built-in Arpeggiator with up to 64 steps. In the screen you can see in what order the notes are played, from low to high, in reverse or in order of keystrokes. There is also a choice of legato. The Arpeggiator can also be used as a step sequencer, where each note on each step can be put up or down in half notes or in octaves. Playing it with a keyboard then transposes the played note relative to the set note value, and you can set separate sequences for all 4 parts. In addition, the MD900 also features a complete drum machine. This is sample-based and contains 14 instruments. You can choose the sample per slot yourself and set the pitch, panning, start and end points and fade-out time. You can then play them via MIDI notes on channel 10 or via the built-in drum grid editor. The screen then shows a 16-step editor in which you can program your own rhythms and save them in various clips. Over here we see the grid, and here are the instruments, and you can add notes wherever you want them. The clip launcher uses the sequences and drum patterns to build up a song. On the screen you can then see a kind of mini Ableton Live with horizontally 7 clips per scene, 4 synth parts, a drum part and 2 virtual control voltage clips. Thus you can build and play a complete arrangement by choosing the master scenes and touching individual clips from other scenes on the touchscreen. But you can also control the clip launcher with an Akai APC Mini if you connect that to a USB port. And soon a computer editor will be available that lets you put the clip launcher on a screen to control the MD900. But in that software you can also edit clips, edit drum patterns and choose the samples. Let's play a little song with the clip launcher. So, what do we think of the Meyer MD900? It's an extraordinary and versatile synthesizer with which you can create the most diverse type of sounds. The sound itself is beautiful, rich in harmonics, and sounds convincing and big across the entire frequency spectrum, but perhaps lacks a touch of character. The filters in particular can sound rather shrill and cold, which can somewhat hide the beautiful sound and subtle variations of the oscillators. The unique oscillator section with extensive set of waveforms provides this sound, but so does the modulation matrix and construction with stereo spreading and dual filter and amplitude sections. Special and audible is the full stereo image of the entire signal path. This is combined with a thoughtful design with most parameters at your fingertips, with many buttons and screens without much menu diving. For sound designers, this is really a dream machine. The virtual analog sound is modern and precise, with the filter sound mainly a matter of taste. The built-in extras such as the extensive Arpeggiator, drum machine, sequencer and the unique clip launcher make the MD900 also suitable for live performances and composition. This makes the machine not only a synthesizer but also a workstation, and a good example of how a hardware digital synthesizer can transcend plugins and software. So if you're looking for a device that can complete and also enhance a computer or modular setup or a perfect sound design workhorse, then you should definitely check the MD900 out. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, then please give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time.